Well, a very good evening to everybody here on the East Coast. A good early evening to those checking in from the West Coast, including my co-host, and of course, all the people that we know and love from the UK and all over Europe. Very good late evening if you're staying up. We do appreciate it. I'm Mark Hershberger of Pop Detective Records. This is Material Issues, episode number 214. Sunday Night Live with Material Issues. It wouldn't be Material Issues without my good friend David Bash joining us from Southern California. He is the president of the International Pop Overthrow Music Festival. He's got a lot of stuff coming up, a lot of festivals, especially IPO LA. Everything's being booked. Everything's rocking and rolling. The three disc IPO set this year.
Oh, you know what? That reminds me.
I reminded David.
Give me a second here. Hold on.
It's all right. Well, IPO LA is coming up, and David, of course, as he says, if you pay the ticket to get in, which I don't know what the tickets are, but they're not very expensive, you do get handed the 3-disc set of IPO music of artists playing IPO LA, and or actually IPOs all over the world. Which right there is worth the price of admission. So I don't know how many tracks he said it was, 72 tracks. He'll update us on that. I don't know. I'm making things up as I go along.
Yeah, I don't have
the CD in my hand.
One year we actually had room for 70, but we've never had 72.
Yes, 68.
Here is the brand new IPO Volume 26 3-disc set, 66 tracks.
66.
Not 72. But that's all we had room for this year. Looks great. Steve Stanley, of course, my amazing graphic artist, did another bang-up job. And as always, 3 really nice disc labels and all the information on the bands inside here, and track listing on the back. I only got 60 copies so far. Sometime early next week, this coming week, I should say, I'll have the rest of them, and we'll be ready to give them out to everyone who comes to IPOLA, who pays admission to get in. Will get a free copy of this compilation. And Omnivore, our label, will be selling them starting in September, early September. Right now, there's a pre-order page up there. I probably should have given you the link to it, but I'm gonna be posting a lot about it as we get closer, so people will know how to pre-order. And as far as I know, they've either sold them out, or the last few out, or have come very, very close, which we're really thankful for, especially since we're giving away so many of them. But people around the world who want it have to get it through Omnivore.
So IPO LA starts when?
Starts Friday. It's at the Redwood. It's at the Redwood Bar, as we have been the last few years. Great room with amazing food. Honestly, maybe the best food in any venue I've ever been in for IPO. But we have one night in a different room, a room called Escondite, which is also in downtown LA. And the interesting thing about that place is, when you look out the front, if you're standing outside the front door and you're looking away from the club, you can actually see the skyline of downtown LA. And I think that's one of the only places in downtown LA where you can actually see the skyline from street level. So it's pretty amazing. I mean, I couldn't believe it, but that's like their claim to fame.
And what is the admission to get into IPO LA?
Well, each show is $15, except for Escondite, which is $10. Actually, so we changed. It's a great bargain because we have so many talented bands, and actually, we've had to change a few things on the schedule. So now, the afternoon of September 3rd at Redwood Bar has 10 bands on it because we don't have an evening. We had to cancel the evening show and move some of the evening bands up to the late afternoon, early evening. So now we have 10 bands on that bill, which, talk about a bargain.
Yes. So $15 for 10 bands.
Plus a free CD. I mean, not a CD, a compilation of 3 CDs yet, with bands, amazing pop bands from all around the world. In fact, our our first track on here is a band from the Netherlands. Actually, our first track on disc 2 is also an artist from the Netherlands, funny enough. Disc 3, we have an American act starting it. But yeah, I think this is one of the strongest ones we've done.
Very cool.
In quite a while. So I'm very excited about that. But I'm also excited about the guests we have. I have been a fan of this band since the mid-90s when they started out. The Huseman brothers, twins, had also been in a major label band called Greenberry Woods, who I really loved. When that band ended, they started this one, and their first album, and this is kind of weird because it has a 99-cent sticker on it. That's because I think what happened is the label had sent me a promo, but it was only a flat. And then when I happened to see this one in a used bin, I said, well, I got to have the full copy. And it happened to be 99 cents. So great. Anyway, this was such a fun album. Reminded me a lot of Red Cross, which was a big surprise because Greenberry Woods had been much more polished. And then this one got down and raw and had some really hilarious lyrics also, including hilarious song titles like Come Back to the Five and Dime, Larry Storch, who lived a lot more years after this. Shrinky Dink, I Was a Teenage Frankenstein, all kinds of stuff. So that was their first one. It was on Big Deal Records, and we had Dean Brownrout, the head of that label, as a guest a few months ago. Right. Then came the second album, Ultrasound, also on Big Deal, which still had the charm of the first album, but you could see that there was a little bit more sophisticated songwriting going on, and you could see it was a sign of things to come, because the next album, Repeater, was another advance that way, also on Big Deal. Here we go. Then they put out the EP Pet Soul, which I guess was sort of supposed to be an amalgamation of Pet Sounds and Rubber Soul. And interestingly, Rubber Soul kind of inspired Brian Wilson to do Pet Sounds, so that makes a lot of sense. This one is on the Airmail label out of Japan, Hiroshi Kuze, and his label. This is the actual album, The Complete Pet Soul, which I think is a favorite of most Splitsville fans. Yeah. And it's absolutely gorgeous, with songs that are evocative of both the Beach Boys and Beatles from those time periods. And then came, and I believe, I'm trying to remember if this is, I believe Tony, second guitarist, joined the band before this album, Repeater, which both Pet Soul and Repeater finished in my top 10 in their respective years. And then that was it album-wise for a while, but now they're back. The four main guys are back with a brand new one called Mobtown on Big Stir Records, our good friends Christina and Rex. And they show that they haven't lost a step. It's wonderful stuff, as always. We have three of the four band members here today. So without further ado, would you please give a huge welcome to Matt Huseman, Tony Waddy, and Paul Krisiak of Splitsville. Gentlemen.
Howdy. Hey, guys.
So good to see you all.
Oh, man. It's good to hear you all. After
That's
all
for sure.
Years, this album, Mobtown, man, it kicks. It just kicks right out of the gate and keeps going. I absolutely love it. Been playing it nonstop for the last week in preparation for the show. But what a great comeback for Splitsville.
What a great surprise too. I mean, I had no idea it was coming, and suddenly I see a press release from Big Stir saying the new Splitsville. It's like, what the fuck? And yeah, very, very glad about that. Have you guys done any shows yet to support the album, or are they coming up?
We're gonna, typical of us, and we're so punctual, our record release gig will be in early September in Baltimore, even though the album is already out. So that'll be the first time back out live for a good bit for Splitsville. But the various members have played together in other situations over the years. So
yeah, right.
Are you all still in the Baltimore area, or where are you guys located?
We're all in Baltimore.
All in Baltimore. I spent a number of years in Hanover, Pennsylvania, not too far north of Owings Mills and in that area. So when you lived in Hanover, the only place you could get for actual reality was to go to Baltimore, and so spent a lot of time down in Inner Harbor and the like. But Baltimore is really nice. Nice area.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We actually did one IPO there where I believe Splitsville played that. Splitsville has played a lot of IPOs over the years. They were at the first IPO in LA in 1998, the final night actually, which was just it was crazy. The place was packed with lines around the block, partially to see these guys, but also the other bands on the bill, like the Sugar Plastic, I remember was on that bill. But I remember a funny thing. Matt's twin brother Brant isn't here right now, but of course they were both there on that day. It was August 30th, 1998. And I knew they were twins, but I don't know if I could tell them apart exactly. And every time I saw one of them, I'd say, "Thank you so much for coming." And I think it was the same one that I saw. I wasn't even paying attention to what he was wearing. And I remember, like, after the third thank you, whichever brother it was looked at me really strangely, like, all right, you thanked me enough. I thought I was thanking both of them. Yeah. And then, but the most unforgettable IPO appearance that Splitsville ever had, for me, it was in Chicago when the response of the crowd was so amazing that they demanded 3 encores. And no other band in the history of IPO has ever gotten 3 encores. And that was like, what, 20 something years ago too. And I've never given 3 until then. I mean, nobody wanted to let them off the stage. It was really amazing, actually.
I remember that night well. Actually, I can picture that tiny, cramped little backstage they had at that place.
Oh, Gunther Murphy's, I think.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Dear Departed, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a really fun show. So again, thank you guys so much for all the IPOs that you played over the years. I remember you guys came up to New York when Incorporated had just come out, and I think Matt said to one of the brothers, maybe it was Brandon, make sure David gets a copy, and which was really nice. And I remember getting it, and I wrote a nice review of it. I don't remember for whom at this point, but just so many great albums over the years, and the new one being no exception.
So why 22 years between Incorporated and Mobtown, and what was the impetus for a new album?
Anyone want to field that one?
That's good.
I mean, we put out Incorporated in 03.
Right.
I don't know. I went into business sales. I mean, if I'm going to be perfectly honest about it, I moved to Denver with the company that I was working for, and picked up a territory in the Midwest, and lived out in Denver until 2016, and then I always wanted to do. I mean, Paul, I know is tired of me saying this, but I always wanted for us to continue on. Maybe just record stuff or whatever. We would still play occasional shows around the country. But I think the band sort of felt like if we weren't all in the room together, it wasn't going to work to record albums. So Brant and I, these guys, Tony and Paul, put out a project, a 4-song EP with a good friend of ours, Joe, who plays drums. I was in a band in Denver. I put out an album, an EP, and we still occasionally just put out songs, but it's way more like I don't know, how would you describe what we do, the Abel Archer stuff? A little more Radiohead or something like that.
Right.
It's
quirkier.
And then Brant had Pale Stars, which was he's that Americana stuff that he's really into, so he did a couple albums with that. Then Brant and I actually did an album called Good News. A friend of ours in California who really wanted to do a project with us, so he sort of Yeah, there you go. So it was his brainchild, and he sort of wrote up a manifesto for it, and then we came up with the songs and stuff, and he helped write lyrics, and
I
so that
really
came
love
out in
that album,
20.
Matt. By the way,
Oh, thanks. Yeah, yeah.
and I I'll I have a really bittersweet memory attached to it. As as you guys may or may not know, I've had 2 heart attacks, and the first one
Did not
was
know.
the first one was in January of 2015. It nearly killed me.
Oh.
Thank God, my doctor said we had done some blood work the day before, and my doctor said you need to get to Cedar Sinai Hospital emergency room pronto. He didn't tell me why, but he said you need just get over there, drive yourself there, and they'll be waiting for you. It's like, oh, okay. Well, to make myself feel better, I actually put good news on the way there,
Oh,
and it really helped. And well, the long story short, when I got there were about 7 cardiologists waiting for me, and it's like, oh, geez.
oh, wow.
And, they did another EKG and said, well, you are having a heart attack. We got to get you into the catheterization room. And a couple of days later, when I finally met the man who is still my cardiologist, he said, you didn't just dodge a bullet, you dodged a nuclear bomb. He said, a couple
Wow.
more hours and it would have been Splitsville from this earth.
There you go.
So I'll never forget this album really did calm me down a lot because it just come out maybe a couple of weeks before that happened. So
Yeah.
thank you for that, and it ended up making my
that's
top
fantastic.
10 in 2015 as well. So
That's
kind
good
of
to hear. Yeah.
It's sort of secretly a Splitsville record because I'm on it
Yeah.
too. I flew out to
Oh.
Denver and hung out with Matt for a weekend and basically put down tracks on about, I don't know, most of the songs all in like about 2
It
days.
was a long weekend. Yeah, he flew out for a long weekend, and I was like, maybe you could come in the studio for a little bit. We were supposed to be doing all this other, and he spent 3 days in the studio basically playing something, at least something on every track, pretty much. Yeah. So
would you call this album? I got the sense that it was a Christian album. Would you call it that?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, the guy who, John, whose idea it was, I can't speak for him. I don't think he would call himself a Christian. I know that Brent and I would not call ourselves Christian either, but yeah, it's a concept album about Jesus. So I don't know, I don't know.
Well, that was a historical figure. I
As
mean,
as my friends from Iowa said when they listened to it, they're like, I don't know what to do with this. So I get it.
Well, very apropos on your way to the emergency room, David, right?
Yeah. Well, Jesus, somebody was there with me. That's for sure.
Yeah, right on.
So anyhow, so tell me, Brant, Matt, tell me about how you and Brant and the other guys, Ira and Miles, got your deal. Well, first of all, how did Greenberry Woods get together, and then how did you get your deal with Sire?
Yeah, I mean, so Ira, when I went to University of Maryland, and Ira was literally the first person I met. I opened up the door to the dorm, and he was opening at the same time. He saw I had a guitar, and he's like, "You're going to teach me how to play guitar. I think you're my roommate." I wasn't his roommate, but I did teach him how to play guitar. And Ira was the kind of guy who would learn 3 chords and just start writing songs. So I was like, well, crap, if he can do that, I can do that. And he and I used to like sit and play like a bunch of Beatles tunes, right? Because that's easy to harmonize with. And Brant and I, of course, being brothers and twins especially, but brothers anyway, we always grew up singing. Harmonies came really naturally to us. I do brothers, a lot of bands when they're singing brothers, there's just something special there anyway. So he knew how to twin, and we were like, well, let's get him to join. And then Miles was a friend of his from high school. I guess we auditioned a bunch of. I wish Brant were here because he remembers a heck of a lot more than I did. But apparently, we auditioned some drummers, but Miles just kind of fit like a glove. And then we kind of quit. Like right after college, we kind of went our separate ways. Kept in touch, still practiced, still played shows, but we kind of about 6 months after college, we were like, let's give this a go. Brent and I moved to Baltimore because we were living in Western Maryland at the time, and we just hustled, and our, you know, probably to a fault, our goal was just to get signed, and we'd figure it out from there. And as a much older person now, I realize, and we've had this conversation, like there were some mechanics that we probably could have worked on better to have a more stable foundation. But I mean, I'm proud of the stuff we did. Put out 2 albums of music that not a lot of people were doing back then.
That's a very good point, because uh, back then a lot of labels, when they would hear the term power pop, they would cringe. They'd say, well, that's retro, that's 70s. And because of that, a lot of bands who I think stylistically fit that genre didn't want to say they were power pop because they were afraid, oh, we're not going to get signed. Did you mind when Greenberry Woods was called power pop?
Well, I mean, this is something I've pushed back. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I kind of pushed back against this the whole career because we were so just concentrating on our own stuff that, I mean, we listened to Jellyfish. I mean, Jellyfish, when that album came out, the first one, we were like, oh, we can do this. Now, we weren't as talented musicians as they were, but we were like, hey, we could this, maybe this stuff will, has a chance or whatever. But I mean, I never heard the term power pop before. So we would like tour, and there would be people who would come out to see us, or like we went out to LA and like, who are you guys? Where'd you come from? Like, but we came from Baltimore. There was just a bunch of hair metal bands here, and we were sort of just doing our own thing. I didn't know there was a thing called power pop. So it was like Beatles influenced stuff. And we met Andy Paley, who produced both the albums, and he really turned me on to the beach. I mean, I owned a beach. I bought my first single ever was one of the Beach Boys songs. I can't remember which one. So it's not like I didn't like the Beach Boys, but I had a very cursory level of them. But I mean, we would do stuff, and I'm babbling, so Paul, you gotta put a timer on me. But like, we would get reviews and be like, well, clearly this song is like a ripoff of like I remember this distinctly, like Bay City Rollers, and I remember reading. We're in the van, and we're like, have you ever? I know one song by them, that's Saturn, Satur, right? That's it. That's the only song I've ever heard of theirs, And people would be comparing us to all of these bands. I was like, I guess, So we were just kind of doing our own thing.
Matt, you're missing out, by the way. Lots of great songs there.
Do what now?
You're missing out on the Bay City Rollers. Lots of great songs there, but go ahead.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, well, that's a whole funny thing about it, is that a lot of stuff I come back to later, even with bands like that sort of like, I guess, considered our peers, where I just wouldn't listen to it because I kind of didn't think I liked it. And then occasionally, like there's a Cherry Twister song. I was like, I never listened to Cherry Twister. Sorry, Cherry Twister. But oh man, they have one song. I was working out, and I wish I could remember. I probably could sing it to you. And that song killed me. And I'm like, wow, these guys are pretty good. The Sugar Plastic. Remember we played with those guys?
Love those.
Now that's a band that we immediately were like, oh, these guys are fantastic. But I mean, are they power pop? Like, I don't know. What's power pop? Or is Green Day power pop? I mean,
well,
to me,
I think they are.
Yeah, me too.
Even Green Day.
I don't know what it is. So if you want to call us power pop, cool, man. That's great. So that's the way I feel about it.
People have to label stuff, and there's all kinds of labels, and it just makes people comfortable whenever you're recommending something and saying, well, these guys are kind of power pop, or they're sunshine pop, or they're folk pop, or they're gives you an idea of what you're getting into. And when you have great harmonies, when you've got some layered sounds and guitars that are in your face, and you get that kind of stuff, and immediately people go power pop.
Right.
And I don't think
how did the Sire find you guys?
Man, well, we were our managers were like really getting us out there, and Steve Lau from the Ocean Blue, who co-produced our first album, I guess he'd gotten a hold of a tape of ours maybe, and turned Seymour Stein on to us, and came out to see a show, and it kind of that was it.
Oh wow! Well, he's always
we played Kenny's Castaways, I think is where it was, where he saw us.
Okay. Yeah, we used that
New
venue
York.
for IPO a few times. Great
Right
place.
on. Yeah.
Dear Departed. And then so the 2 albums come out after, and you know they do well. Maybe they don't do major label well, but they certainly do well in the grand scheme of things, and get wonderful reviews, particularly from pop people. Now, did Sire drop you guys, or did you just decide like that? This is it. We're moving on to something else.
I mean, so what happened was we were on Sire Reprise for the first album, and then there was a shakeup there, and we chose between Elektra and Reprise, or I think
Oh, that's
because we
right, yeah.
originally had to choose between Warner Brothers or Reprise to distribute. It's kind of a blur, but we went with Elektra, and I can't remember why we chose to do that, and then the woman who started running Elektra was just like basically like, we're just going to do hip hop, which
Wow.
makes sense financially, but we were like, oh, they're just going to ignore this album, which it did. I mean, we shot 2 videos for the first album, none for the second. So and the band, honestly, we just weren't getting along, so it made sense, and we'd already recorded the Splitsville album. Between the 2 albums.
You were on it at that point?
So we did the first Splitsville album and a couple of unreleased EPs in the space between the 2 Greenberry Woods albums. So
okay.
We didn't release it until later, but we recorded it between the 2. And then I did some guitar teching for the guys on tour, and when they were recording Big Money Item, I was in the studio with them, not playing. I was just basically supplying a guitar collection to be used on the record, and just kind of hanging out, just chatting with everybody, and so yeah. I mean, it's funny though that Matt said it's hard almost to remember this when Matt says the band wasn't getting along, and it's true that they were not. And but it's funny because now everyone in that band and in this band are like all really good friends, and you would never really think that there was any sort of acrimonious thing in the past. It's a strange thing.
That's wonderful. Yeah, you get older and wiser,
Yeah, sure. And we just we've had those conversations where we've acknowledged, none of us were really equipped to. I mean, certainly with the way that we were raised, to have conversations that we will have at our age now. Guys just didn't do that, right? We were guys in a band. We're not going to have any deep conversations about what's working, what's not working in our relationships or the band or whatever. So
now, Tony, we don't of course mean to leave you out here, but your history with these guys hasn't started yet, or had it. I mean, were you a fan of Greenberry Woods? Did you know it? Did you know them?
That is a pretty good question, because I thought we were just going to go to was I aware of those guys as Splitsville, but yes, as Greenberry Woods. Coincidentally, I was working at a CD shop where I met my wife, and
oh wow,
and we noticed that this band from Baltimore that I'd never heard of had put out a record on a major label, and I was jealous doesn't quite cut it, but at the time, I was playing in a few bands and just kicking around Baltimore. So I was aware of them only because I had heard they had gotten signed. We got all these posters, and I'm, clenching my teeth while I hang these posters up. So yeah, that's how I got. That's how
twins were so cute too, right? I mean, wasn't that part of it? Or with our long silky hair?
Of course, yeah, fabulous hair. Still.
I remember Matt at one IPO show, you said Brant's a really gentle lover. So
yeah.
Yeah, I think actually that was when we were playing with Doug Edmonds of Bad Hands.
I think I think Brant said that about Doug Edmonds.
He said about Doug.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe
he was
you guys
playing drums
that
when
line
we did
a few more times.
Greenberry Woods show. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
And Paul, you mentioned just providing the guitars or whatever early on there, but I do have to ask. We did talk about this pre-show a little bit. Paul and Tony, you both have an impressive array of guitars behind Paul. I'm seeing Strats and Mustangs and things. I have to ask Tony, it almost looks like your guitars go all the way back and by the red chair. To me, it looks like a mirror, which makes it look like that many more guitars, but that's not a mirror, is it?
No, there
that
are.
just keeps going, doesn't it?
There are 14 on the wall and
Oh,
wow.
2 others because I ran out of wall space. So, but
you
it's
now-
He needs help.
Is this-
He needs help. He really does.
Yeah, is this your studio or is this just your kitchen?
this is where I recorded most of my guitars for, excuse me, for Mobtown. In Paul's house, pardon me. In Paul's house is where we did the lion's share of everything, but I did just record guitars here, and it's convenient, nowadays to be able to share things through a shared folder, and Paul and I could pass things back and forth and not have to drive up to his house up north. So
Paul has a secret bunker up north of the city, so I live with no traffic.
Matt and I are 2
minutes
miles
from-
away from each other.
Yeah, 2 miles. It's 8-minute drive or whatever. So, Paul is a 40-minute drive from us. So that studio is. So whenever I could, I'd go over to Tony's and we'd record there as well. Yeah, just guitar stuff, all vocals, and most everything else was at Paul's studio.
Well,
Wow.
I mean, guitar collecting is an addiction. I need to start downsizing myself. I don't put it behind me, but it's something. Is that something that Paul and Tony that you look for to keep adding to your collection?
To
And
Paul's credit, Paul works on his guitars. I just play mine until they die and hang them
hang them on the wall.
Every
Yeah,
one of mine is meticulously set up and properly adjusted.
Yeah,
And also,
and mine
every one of these is on the record. Every
mine
single
have been dropped and thrown and dropped and dropped, and
Okay.
once it's been 3 years, I'm like, okay, I've got to get something else, and But Paul's are meticulously taken care of. So
And he sets ours up too. So
yeah, and I
really
will
wonderful.
drop a guitar off and not even explain it, and
Yeah.
something's broken. Can you fix this for me? Paul's great with that.
When you guys, Matt and Paul, when you guys started Splitsville, did you have aspirations to be in another major label, or did you not really worry about that at all?
No, the plan was to goof off. It was to make each other laugh as much as we could, and that's what we did.
Yeah, it was really Brent's idea. He wanted to. I mean, he and I were fighting as well, which was tough because we were living in a shoebox-sized apartment. We ended up writing letters to each other like, "This is stupid," like, why are we doing this? Why are we fighting? He's like, "Look, I just want to play. I want to play. I'm gonna play drums. Let's do a 3-piece." We were friends with Paul at that point. Outside of the band. And so we were just like, let's get together, do it. We wrote that first album. I showed up with 6 songs, probably half a dozen songs, of which I wrote them all within a week, some of them the night before. I mean, we were just like, and we were all writing machines back then, Brant and I especially. I mean, Paul's always been a little more meticulous with his songwriting, but Brant and I were just like machines. We just had so many. I mean, there's, we probably have, if we went back to it, like 40, like Greenberry Woods songs that never got recorded or, put out. So that's why we did. In fact, the Greenberry Woods did put an album out. I can't remember, like 4 or 5 years ago. It was just like stuff before we were signed, because we had recorded a bunch of stuff. So, but anyway, yeah. So that was the early stuff. We're just kind of putting stuff out to make each other crack up. That got a little contentious because I know Andy Paley wanted us to use some of those songs for the Big Money item. We're like, nah, that's Greenberry was an entirely different thing, so.
Yeah, it was a big shock to me. I think the promo that Dean sent came to me unexpectedly, and I said, "Oh, the Huseman Brothers. Okay, well, let's see what this sounds like." And I couldn't believe it because it sounded nothing like Greenberry Woods. It was much more like an early Red Cross. And as you said, with making each other laugh, it certainly made me laugh, some of the lyrics. And I'm not even a lyrics guy, but, this stuff is kind of, for lack of a better word, and I know you meant it to be this way, adolescent. And I respond to adolescent lyrics because I'm very adolescent. So it was a really, really fun listen, but very, very different. How was the response to the? Well, first of all, let me ask you, how did you get hooked up with Dean and Big Deal?
Wow, I'm not sure I remember how that happened.
I don't either. Maybe John Lay, who was managing us at the
John
time.
Lay,
I mean,
John Lay,
yeah. Yeah.
I remember him.
I would
now.
assume. I mean, I don't know how many labels we reached out to, but yeah, I think he was working that deal while we were still doing Greenberry Woods. I think I could be wrong about that. I mean, I think it was known that we had recorded this thing, and we were just we just started trying to put a live show together, you know. And our early live show was just like off the hook because Brant, you know, he literally started playing drums, you know, the month that we recorded the album. So he's like 3 or 4 days into playing drums when the first song is played, you know. So our early shows were definitely like, you know, roller coaster rides of are we gonna make it through the song, you know, kind of stuff. But I don't know.
No, it
We
ended
just
up
got
working
better.
just fine.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I saw you guys was at the Poptopia Festival when Dean put together the Big Deal Records night. You guys, Glad Hands, Adam Marsland. I'm trying to remember who else, but there were about 5 or 6 bands on that bill, and it was a lot of fun. So, all right, so the first album comes, hits, people buy it, and then comes Repeater, Ultrasound rather, and this one, you know, it imbues a lot of the spirit from the first album, but you could tell there was definitely some more sophistication in songwriting. And I want to play the song that probably really kind of got everybody excited. Like maybe this is going to be a little bit more in that Greenberry Woods vein. Maybe we're going to start having some sophisticated songwriting. And that song, as you probably could guess, is Ponce de Leon. What was the inspiration for that one?
Yeah, Brant's tune. But he came to me and said, look, I got this idea for a tune, and it's kind of about, you know, Brant is the theming guy of the band. Brant's always the guy who says, here's the concept for the next album. And they're basically all concept albums. So he thinks in terms of sort of like themes for things. And he had this sort of theme of this, you know, hooking into the whole Ponce de Leon thing as a way of sort of exploring, like, you know, not wanting to get old, you know. And that album, that whole Ultrasound album is about like going from the adolescence you mentioned to the first thing into a more sort of grown up, but still immature kind of era in life. Anyway, he came to me and he had this sort of idea for the song. He had a bit of a tune to it, but not really how it was going to go instrumentally. And I thought like, oh, we'll give it this McCartney-esque bouncy piano thing. And here we go. And then it just kind of wrote itself from that point, you know?
Yeah. And here we go indeed. So everyone out there, you're going to get your first taste of Splitsville on the show. I'm sure you've heard them before, but if you haven't, this was from their second album, Ultrasound, and it's called Ponce de Leon here on Material Issues.
Just like Ponce de Leon, I've traveled far and wide. When all is said and done, have I enjoyed the ride? You're putting me on, is this the best it gets? I haven't jumped the ship, this trip's not over yet. Everywhere I go, I see the world around me growing small, moving faster. Will this be my disaster? Everyone I know is counting up the losses while I'm still
Yeah, that is some really cool bouncy pop for you, Ponce de Leon. And that, as I said, that's the song that I think got a lot of us excited about what was to come. And indeed, what was to come was an amazing album called Repeater. And this is the stuff. This album means so much to me because when you guys came out to play IPO the first year, these were the songs that you were showcasing. And if somebody asked me, like, what's the quintessential Splitsville song, it would be one that I would choose from this album, which I want to play right now. It's called Big Red Sun. And whose song is that, and what's the origin?
That'd be me. Yeah, it's yeah. So I mean, there's definitely musically, I'm definitely lifting from some people, from some influences, some contemporaries. I said in a radio interview in Spain once, where Grant and I went in to be interviewed immediately after Fountains of Wayne. They were on the way out as we were on the way in, and I said on that interview that they're probably going to sue us for that song. The very beginning of it, especially, is very much a Fountains of Wayne thing. But it's just kind of a sympathetic view of people like my wife who have to live with dreamers like me who can't really seem to get their crap together in the real world, and that's the whole thing, really.
Well, no one was going to. If Mike Love wasn't in the band, you weren't going to get sued. So we can feel thankful for that. Anyway, everyone, here we go with from Repeater, Big Red Sun by Splitsville.
She's left holding the reins, sullen and embarrassed. She drives the bridal carriage now. She's gained only his name, and promises left rusting on suburban lawns. From his cherry stands falls and withdraws into his dream life. Here is the power of carriage now.
it doesn't get much better than that. Although I have to say my favorite Splitsville song is coming up, but that's definitely in the top 5. How often do you guys go back and listen to your previous work?
I'm not at all ashamed to say I listen to our stuff plenty, but I'm actually noticing just tonight as we're listening to some of these things how much slop we left in some of these tracks. A lot of them were done rather live. At least the core of the track is live. There's obviously lots of overdubs, but I'm hearing just like, oh yeah, there's a couple clams on the piano in that song. Oh, what are you gonna do?
It's rock and
For me,
roll,
it's kind of
Paul.
fun.
That's rock and roll. I don't listen to our stuff much. My wife does, so I listen to it through her.
For me, it's kind of
Okay.
fun because I wasn't on those earlier records, and I've added harmonies to each of the songs, so it's rehearsal for me. So especially now, as we're gearing up to do our release party, so it's a learning tool, it's a rehearsal tool for me.
Yeah.
And I
So-
love it.
So after that, and one of you mentioned having a really good review in Spain. Well, suddenly you guys are on Houston Party. Well, first you released the Pet Soul EP. And of course, when I first heard that, my only thought was, besides, this is great. It's like, I wish there was more. And I guess that was your last thing on Big Deal. But here comes more indeed, with the full-length album, The Complete Pet Soul, which has the EP plus a bunch of new songs. And it's on Houston Party Records, although my copy's on Airmail. I don't have a Houston Party one. Now I'm going to have to go on Discogs and get one, but I know it was on that label. How did that all happen?
Actually, it was Darian of the Wondermints.
Oh, wow.
Well, no, he pointed me to Hiroshi for the Airmail recordings, actually. And then who did point us to Houston Party after that? I can't remember. That wasn't.
I don't remember. I honestly don't. But I mean, we're kind of morons because we thought it would be cool to only have the physical release, available on imports, which is, in hindsight, probably not great marketing for an American band. So
Somehow a lot of us found it anyway. I mean, thankfully, with guys like Bruce Brodeen at Not Lame, showcasing your stuff, we were all able to get it. And I knew Hiroshi pretty well at that point anyway. But what a beautiful album this is, and obviously with the passing of one of our favorite singer-songwriters, Brian Wilson, I think it only appropriate to play the love songs of B. Douglas Wilson, which of course is a beautiful song. Whose is that, and how did it come about?
that's Brent. Brent wrote that one too.
It's one of.
Damn, I wish I was picking yours, Matt. Maybe I will for the
That
next
is
one.
what it is. Well, here's the deal. Like you see it in reviews and stuff too, and like even have private conversations about this. People tend to gravitate towards one or the other. So I wasn't surprised that you were going to use B. Douglas Wilson. First of all, it's a gorgeous song, so I don't care. But yeah, that's typically in reviews. People will be like, they'll list like 3 of mine or 3 of Brandt's. It's just people just gravitate towards one of us or the other. It's no big deal.
Whose is Forever?
That's Brant.
No, that was going to be the other one I was going to play.
Yep.
But I figured this was. I figured this one was more appropriate. Again, we owe all of us, both as musicians and as fans of the music, we owe so much to Brian Wilson, and this was an amazing tribute. So let's play the love songs of B. Douglas Wilson, rather, from The Complete Pet Soul. Here we go.
Catch a wave, it makes you feel like flying, and you're never coming down. Making records and the kids are buying California summer sound. Never learn to say no, never learn to say no, never learn to say no, never learn
Well, an absolutely lovely tribute to someone who's so near and dear to my heart. I mean, it's always tragic when our musical heroes die, but I always tell people, the songs are still here, thank God. The stuff that a lot of us didn't really know. Some of us never even met our heroes, or if we did, it was just briefly. But the one thing that we love about them the most is their music, and thank God that doesn't go with them when they die. We'll have that as long as we're here. We'll have that. Had you got? And I know you guys toured quite a bit, played quite a lot of shows over the years. Did you ever make it to outside the U.S.?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we spent a good bit of time touring in Spain. With the Houston Party releases, we wound up over there a good bit. And around that same time, I was playing with Miracle Bra as well, and with Andy Bop. And so the two bands toured Spain together once too, which was really a lot of fun. So yeah, we probably will get back over there maybe sometime next year. We're to be continued. More on that later, I guess.
Well, I'm sure you've spoken with Doug about his experience at the Cavern in Liverpool. So if you do, in fact, put together a tour, try and do it around the end of May, and hopefully you can include the Cavern. Because I'll tell you something, it will be the time of your life. I guarantee that. And just something to think about.
Really noted.
Oh, God, yeah.
All right, so now we're in the early 2000s, and Tony, you end up joining the band. How did that happen?
Baltimore is a small town. It's a city, but it's everybody in a band, in an original band. At that time, there were only a handful of rock clubs, so everyone knew each other. I was in a band called Guava Stain at the time, and we would share the stage with these guys on occasion. So I knew them around town. And also at the same time, speaking of Andy Bop, while these guys were finishing the Complete Pet Soul, I was recording Charming with Guava Stain, and we got to hear some of the dailies that things were unmixed or just completed the previous weekend. And so I was aware that they had something big brewing and knew that they were already a big deal. So, pun intended. So there was a time in 2001, just before September 11th, that I was playing a show in a club in Baltimore, and Paul was there with some friends, and we just ran into each other. And he's like, "How's Guava Stain?" I said, "We broke up." I said, "How's Splitsville?" He said, "Yeah, we put out a record, and it's pretty ambitious. So, do you have a passport?" I was like, "Yep." So we did a quick audition, and 2 months later, we did 15 shows in 14 days in Spain.
Wow! Oh, wonderful!
And on that trip, as we finally got to know each other, we started right away. There were a few riffs, at least, that I had that we just kind of during sound check just held on to them, and when we got back, we started to record Incorporated. So it was pretty quick, but because again, the scene was small, and I knew these guys were hardcore with their harmonies, and that was one of my strong suits. So fortunately, things lined up, and that's kind of how that came together. So
and you can hear that more flourished sound on Incorporated, thanks to you both with guitars and harmonies. But the one thing about your albums is every song says written by Splitsville, so I have no idea who's actually writing these things. So I'm going to pick right now from Incorporated what may be my favorite Splitsville song ever, and I'm hoping it's yours, Matt. But the way my luck has been, I'm not even going to. I'm not going to announce it. I'll play it and then back announce it. So here we go.
Body language.
Yeah, right. Here we go. What I think is my favorite song by Splitsville from Incorporated on Material Issues.
Yes, I know. It's ruining my day. Yes, I know. And you know it's giving me a headache. Always such a big concern. All the aggravation, riding over a panic sake of worry. Is it really such a crime?
I thought I saw Paul raise his fist when the song started. Is that yours?
Yep, it sure is.
Well, you know what? There are three things I especially love about that song: the interweaving of the bass line with the guitar licks, and the chord changes that accompany that. Then, of course, that jellyfish-like bridge, and I'm sure you've heard that before, so it's not new. And but then, what really just knocked me for a loop was the key change, the key change going up in that last. I don't know if you call it a verse or a chorus, but in that last line, it blew me away. Everything about that song absolutely blows me away. Not that there aren't any other Splitsville songs that do that, but that one especially. It's like everything I stand for in power pop is like codified right there. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so.
And
Go
it
ahead,
wasn't
Mark.
a Matt song. I was just saying it wasn't a Matt song. We're just drawing the short straw tonight, but maybe we'll get.
Yeah,
to it.
I'm hoping. Well, we're going to play a couple from the new album because that's what
Totally.
they're trying to promote, and hopefully one of these is. But so here we are, 2025. I assume the album was probably started last year. I think you may have answered that question. You may have answered this question earlier, but what did possess you to four of you to get back together and do it again?
Well, for starters, we have, on a personal level, never been apart, really. The four of us and our wives are literally a family, no kidding. So we were always together anyway. As soon as Matt moved back to Baltimore, and what was that, 16, was it, Matt?
Yeah, 2016, yeah, September.
We knew we were going to get to work on a new album together, and we already had the theme, Mobtown, a Baltimore themed record, and our unique combination of perfectionism and utter laziness, plus a few health crises and other dramas along the way. Several years went by before it finally got together, but here it is. We're finally here.
So Mobtown is a nickname for Baltimore?
It is, yeah, and it's due to its long history of sort of political violence. Riots here were sort of one of the events that sparked the Civil War, for instance, and there were all sorts of things over the years in Baltimore with sort of political thuggery going on. So, yeah.
Well, if we look at the album cover, it is interesting. Can you give me a little insight on whose idea this was, and why do we look at some or most of the people in black and white, and yet there's a sailor in color down here, and there's a little color over in the mid. What's the idea behind the album cover?
My niece did that. I mean, based on a photo that I found. So that this is what's it called? Yeah, right, exactly. And so they're celebrating the end of the war. And I just thought it would be cool to pop this guy's color, but the sailor's color, just because he just stood out to me. But right above his head to the right, you can see some, that gold leaf writing. That's Hutzler Brothers Department Building. That's in downtown Baltimore. So that captures a bit of Hutzler's right there, which one of the songs is titled after. And
that may be one of the ones I'm going to play. I don't know.
There you go. Well, there you go. So this is I don't know, it just looks like a big mob scene to me. I mean, I was looking at, and we used one for the cold open single. We found like an old lithograph, but none of that worked as a cover for me. We thought this image was much more striking.
No, it's very cool cover. Yeah, I dig it. But
it really isn't. And I don't remember, Matt, whether it was you or Brant. One time when you guys came out and played IPO, and I mentioned Baltimore, you said no, it's Balmer. It's pronounced Balmer.
Balmer.
Yeah.
People, is that, were you messing with me, or is that really true?
Yeah, that's the local accent, Balmer, Maryland, instead of Baltimore, Maryland.
Balmer, Maryland. Okay. I'm gonna have to remember that. But yeah,
Cool.
so, you know, there are all kinds of different styles on this album. Some of the stuff is very reminiscent of traditional Splitsville, and some of it's very new. One of my favorite songs on the album is the first one that I want to play. It's the second track called "A Glorious Lie." Okay, whose is that?
That's me.
Oh my God!
We've rounded around to something I can actually talk about. No, yeah, this was. I mean, I think we were playing when I first moved to Denver, and I would fly back, and we were still like working on new material. This was one of the songs we were working on. So this probably was 2004, 2005.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's why it does have that traditional Splitsville feel. But
There you go.
it's really a cool song, and I'm really happy to play it. So this is one of the tracks from the brand new album on Big Stir Records. That's right, our good friends Christina and Rex. And the album is called Mobtown. And if you don't have it yet, obviously you can go to the Big Stir label. I'm sure Cool Cat Music carries it. All the pop, the online pop emporiums, and Amazon, I'm sure has it as well. So it's easy enough to get.
Independent retailers, please.
Yes, independent retailers. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Independent retail. I'm sure in Balmer they're carrying quite a few of them are carrying it. But I'll see. I imagine some of the local shops here, like Freak Beat and Amoeba, are probably carrying it as well. But however you get it, just get it. And it's because of tracks like this that I can be 100% in my convictions that it's a great record. Here we go. A Glorious Lie by Splitsville from Mobtown.
It was a glorious night, and for the rest of my life, it haunts me. It was a glorious night. Don't waste your time checking me. I'm just a part of the scene.
Yes, I mean there are only a few bands, maybe only one band, you guys, that have some of those chord changes. So as soon as I hear them, I know it's Splitsville. And yeah, the second track on the new album Mobtown, it's called "A Glorious Lie," and you know, you can hear other songs of that ilk and other songs not of that ilk on the new album, but you can be sure it's all great. How many of these songs were written recently?
Yes, they all kind of came together over a matter of years, really. At least got sort of fine tuned over a matter of years. So I don't think any of them was sort of a composition that really started within the last year or two. Really, I think they've been spread out over some time.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot.
Paul, you said you guys are like family, the four of you and the wives and whatnot. I'm assuming you get together quite a lot. Does that turn into just everybody grabbing guitars and sitting around the fire pit out back and writing songs? Is that how it happens? Or
it has been known to happen. Sure, for a little while I had a rule going that we had to bring guitars whenever we got together, but that kind of fell by the wayside after a while.
Of course.
It's not like you don't have any there. Right.
Hey, Mark, ask the question that you ask of a lot of our guests about the process.
What's that? Well, you lost me. The lyrics or the.
No, you tend to ask our guests what their process is in songwriting.
Oh yeah, well, it's always my curiosity, especially with you guys, because I'm a lyrics guy, and David always says he's not that much of a lyrics, but I love listening to lyrics, and your lyrics are a lot of fun, and they take you on a nice story and things. So when you have songs that have really interesting lyrics, do lyrics come to you first, and then you try to write something around it, or are you the traditional music comes first, and then I'll start putting lyrics to it? Because when I think of a lyrics band, I always think it's like you've written poetry and now you've got to put it to music. But many times people will tell me, no, the music came first, and then we stick stuff to it. And I'm always curious, like where it comes from with musicians.
Yeah, I mean that's I'm always fascinated by process as well. Like I know that Costello, or I've understood that Elvis Costello would write his lyrics often first. I think Elliott Smith did a lot. I think Paul writes. He writes. I think all three of us write the melody first, but I would say that Paul is the most poetic of us. All of his songs, so Headache, Big Red Sun, on this album are Federal Hill and help me out, Falls Way. They read like poetry to me, and if lyrically. So I'm with you, but yeah, we all write we all tend to write the melody first.
Yeah, and I think oftentimes the initial spark of an idea may be some of the lyrics married to a bit of melody. Like I've got a line in my head and that's the starting point. But then from there, I'm going to mumble the melody at you while we figure it out,
Glorious Lie, I was always singing, it was a glorious night and for the rest of my life, it haunts me. So I think I had the chorus. I didn't have a verse. And then I wrote a manifesto up for these guys when we started the album and gave them links to different articles and stuff like that about Baltimore, because we had a couple of different ways we were going to maybe approach this thing. Anyway, I took most of the ideas for Glorious Live from an article on there's a beautiful hotel in downtown Baltimore called the Belvedere, and that's what it's based off of. Actual stories from the Belvedere.
Oh, wow.
And that track, Glorious Lies, it has a very mid 80s kind of sound to it when you throw that kind of airy keyboard in there to the back that kind of takes you on the lilt through the lyrics, which is just wonderful. But I get curious because when I'm driving around in the car and things, I get an idea, as you said, Paul, stuck in my head, where it's just maybe a line or two, but then something comes behind it. In order to remember it, I'm singing it wherever I'm going because I'm not I can't, you can't record it while you got your hands on the wheel.
Mhm.
You stick it to something, and then you write it down. And the next day, of course, you look at it and go, "Yeah, but what was that melody I was singing? I forget."
Mhm.
And it becomes something completely different. But the process is fascinating to me. And
Totally agree.
all right, yeah, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, the next song I want to play, and part of it is because I really like it, but also the title, harkened back to something from like the first album. And you mentioned when we were talking about the cover, you mentioned Hustlers on there. I hate going to Hustlers. Is that place still around, and do you really hate to go there?
It is. It's not around, but I know we all went to Hutzler's when we were young, right? We had to, not the one downtown necessarily, but there were other ones. I think they expanded into like the county. But my understanding is, again, based off of Wikipedia, which is never wrong, is that it was the first department store you went to where you didn't have to negotiate the price. I guess before that, you would walk into a store and you'd be like, they didn't have price tags. It'd be like, well, I would like to pay $3 for this. Well, it's going to be $3.50. So anyway, it's like it's the same price or whatever for each thing. I think was like a thing that they advertised. So, but yeah, I remember going there when I was a kid, the one north of the city.
And was it the kind of place where your parents would take you to buy the kind of clothes you didn't want?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll never forget those places. The parents always thought they knew how the kids would, like, oh, this is really cool. Like, no, it's not. I have enough trouble in school being teased. I don't want to add to it with this. Anyway, it's a really cool, fun song. And so if I may, I'd like to play it. Another track from track number 6 from the new album Mobtown on Big Stir Records. Here we are, Splitsville with I Hate Going to Hutzler's.
I hate going to Hutzler's. It's just full of stuff, and anyway, I think I lost you. I love fingernails that sparkle, red and render, everything to shreds like yours do. When they cut me like they used to. I started to freaking hustle needs all these caramel creams and Oreo sweaters. Why can't you see that you and me, we couldn't negotiate for anything better? Desperate window dressing, ruthless advertising. We just buy things 'cause we're supposed to. All our currency reads out of many one. I don't think that means what it used to. I started to freaking hustle needs all these caramel creams and Oreo sweaters. Why can't you see that you and me, we could negotiate for anything better? Na 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 as it ever was. It will be because all we want is everything, and it owns us. I hate going to Hutzler's. It's just full of stuff, and anyway, I think I lost you. I guarantee that we don't need all these caramel creams and Oreo sweaters. Why can't you see that you and me, we could negotiate for anything better? Let's run away to Dewey Beach, skinny
I noticed you had a lyric in there about Orioles sweaters. Are you guys big baseball fans, or
Used to be.
Yeah,
it's hard? I know.
rekindled my love for the Orioles in recent years, but Tony was an actual baseball player in his youth. So
Were
I
you
know-
really?
No, I played sports in my youth. I was a huge football fan and baseball fan, and all
Did
the
you have
sports.
aspirations to?
I
go
I
for-
wanted to be a pitcher at one point because I was pretty good at it when I was in my early teens. But in your early teens, unless if you're a corn-fed kid that plays baseball all the time. But I mean, I was riding my bike and I was playing guitar and whatever else the kids do, and I had not enough dedication. Just like with the guitar, it's like just dabble a little bit and then go and do other stuff. So
Baseball's loss was definitely rock and roll's gain. So I'm
I
glad.
gotta
I'm
tell you guys,
glad you chose what you chose. Although, had you become a major leaguer, I'd be collecting your card now. So I don't know.
very kind.
that track is so good though, that really rocks it. And here's where I get the injustice of it all, because if I mean, you guys aren't spring chickens, when none of us are young anymore, you've been around for a long time, that track could be 5 seconds of summer when in the youthful days when all the girls were going nuts over them, whatnot, because they didn't see what they looked like. It just sounded like that sound. And it just has such a great kicking sound. It's got the great background vocals. If there's any justice in the world, that would be all over the radio right now, and we'd all be happy. But
it comes out officially today, Sunday, so this
Friday.
coming Friday, and we're wrapping up a video for it, so hopefully that'll come out at the same time as the single. So
that's
Oh,
awesome.
nice. Well, I definitely, it's going to become a local favorite, no doubt about it. You're going to have people singing along with that one who've had the same experience you have with Hustlers.
I thought it was the Hustler store in LA. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well, I certainly don't hate going there. Well, actually, I haven't been there for maybe ever. Actually, I'm trying to think.
That's such a good song, though. I hate going to Hustlers. I love it. Great work. I mean, the whole album is fantastic, and we've been running it across the bottom. BigStirRecords.com. Big Stir has put this thing out, which is fantastic. But all the independent retailers, I'm sure, Cool Cat's going to have it. A lot of places we've already mentioned, but your normal places, Amazon and such, if you can't find it anywhere else. But Big Stir Records, great stuff. I'm so glad it's back out. You guys do a wonderful
And
job.
so I've heard through the grapevine that at least some of you guys might be working on something else. Is that the case?
well,
yeah, I think it's the worst kept secret in
yeah, right.
yeah, but we're not gonna talk about it. We don't talk about it here. So
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'll only say that Ira Katz called me a while back and wanted my former Miracle Bra drummer, bandmate Joe Parsons and I to do some stuff with him on a solo record. And he showed up with some songs that were just really, really good. And I said, maybe there's some other guys we know that you could call and we could do another record instead. So that's all. And that's all we're going to say.
All right. Yeah. And you people out there can glean whatever you want from that, context or otherwise. But yeah, it should be fun. But in the meantime, we have this, and we're really thankful for that. Great record. And, best of luck with it, and best of luck with the record release show and, everything else that you guys do.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Fantastic, great album. We're really digging it. Hope it's successful for you. And are you guys going to be out playing around here in the East Coast more, or what's the upcoming plan?
There's a Philly gig in November, and we'll work on other things soon, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly one other in December.
Nice.
not yet.
Where would we find out about upcoming things? I mean, does Big Stir put that on their website, or do you have any place that people can find it?
We're on the Big Stir website. We also have our own website, which is splitsville.band. We're on Instagram, Splitsville USA. And
Also, Splitsville USA.
yeah, and our Facebook page, Splitsville USA. So
Wonderful. That's where I'd like to find out. I'll see you guys in the Philly gig. That's few minutes away from here, which is great.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to come back east to see you in the meantime, but hopefully across the pond at the very least next year. But I'll see you guys play one way or the other.
Well, wonderful. Best of luck with the album, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us here on Material Issues.
Absolutely, this was a lot of fun.
It's been
Thanks,
a lot of
gentlemen.
fun.
Let's do it. Thank you.
And thank you,
Good.
thank you,
We're
thank you
glad.
for the albums over the years, man. You've provided us with countless hours of
You know,
enjoyment.
there's two Power Pop Hall of Fames out there. Mine and Aaron Kupferberg of Power Popaholic, and Splitsville is in both, and deservedly so.
We made the cut.
You did.
And please let Brant know how popular all his songs were on the show tonight.
I will. Yeah. He'll be thrilled. He'll rub it in my face.
Oh my God.
Have a great night, guys. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Yeah, take care, guys.
Thank you guys so much.
See ya. Bye-bye.
All right, that was great.
So
Again, everybody, if you just joined us, we had members of Splitsville on the program talking about, well, their albums throughout their career, but mainly the brand new on Mobtown on Big Stir Records. It's excellent. We strongly suggest that you go out and buy it and add it to your record collection. One question I forgot to ask them that I wanted is there gonna be any vinyl of any Splitsville releases? Because I'm sure a lot of people would love reissues of some of their albums on vinyl, and of course Mobtown as well. But I guess that remains to be seen. Maybe we'll all be surprised with that at some point.
Yeah.
So anyhow, thank you guys again for being here. With respect to shows coming up, it's going to be kind of like Liverpool. The next 2 Sundays, IPOLA will be happening. I would like to. I'll make sure that the connection at the club is good, and hopefully we can do something similar. Hopefully we can do something similar to what we did in Liverpool. Have some bands, showcase a couple of bands, have some interviews. There is a backstage area at Redwood, which isn't very well lit, but I think we could probably figure something out. Yeah. Maybe even go out to the front of the club and do something there. I don't know. But so August 3rd and 10th will be reserved for that. And hopefully that will happen without a hitch. August 17th, we'll probably, if we can, start an hour early. I'll be coming back from IPO San Diego, but if we get here at early enough, we could use that show to play some new music. The Power Pop movie, Justin Fielding is bringing it out to LA, and that night at 7:00 Pacific, there's going to be a private screening of it at Paul Rock's house for the Wild Honey Corporation. So if we start 3 hours before the show, I think we can get some cool songs in, cool tunes from some great records that have come out. On the 24th, we have the second appearance by Chris Stamey, with the first one being interrupted by the bad weather that they had, the big storm. But Chris is going to be back, and hopefully, again, without a hitch. And hopefully we have a really nice time with him. I'm sure we will. And then August 31st, I'll still be in Vancouver. IPO will have ended the day before. And we have as our special guest an author of books on Boz Scaggs, the band, and America. And her name is Jude Warne, Warne. And we're going to talk about, her life and career as an author, and a little bit about the books that she's written. That should be a lot of fun and very informative. I'm a huge fan. I like Boz Scaggs. I like some of his career. There's 70s stuff I like a lot. A lot of people don't know his albums, a lot of his albums, other than Silk Degrees.
Yeah.
But the ones before that on Columbia were wonderful. And, you know, he was part of the Steve Miller Band as well. I'm sure there's stuff in her book about that. So, you know, we'll have a lot to talk about there. America is definitely one of my favorite bands of all time.
Really? Wow.
Oh, yeah. I love America, especially, again, the mid-'70s stuff that George Martin produced. The albums Holiday, which Holiday had Tin Man and Lonely People as big hits, and then Hearts, which had Sister Golden Hair as a huge hit, and Daisy Jane as a moderate hit. Both of those albums were produced by George Martin. And, you know, they had other really good albums before and after that.
I just really didn't start liking them until Billy Mooney got involved, and then I really.
I really urge you. I mean, you're a fan of Stackridge, right?
Yeah.
And you like 10 to 4 Days / The Man in the Bowler Hat.
Yeah, it's not that I don't like America. I do like America. It's just, you know, we've discussed this before on different shows too, is so much music is of time and of place and when you hear it and how it affects you at that time. And if it doesn't turn a key sometimes, you know, it doesn't. But then you can revisit it. I've not revisited America that much, but now maybe I have to go back and revisit a lot more of it.
Definitely at least Holiday and Hearts, because you can hear George Martin. I mentioned Stackridge because he produced The Man in the Bowler Hat, their album from '74. And you can hear those production flourishes on those two America albums. In fact, there's one song on Holiday that I think sounds like it could have been a Stackridge song. With that George Martin production, you could totally tell. So anyway, we'll bring the author on, Jude Warren. We'll probably say, "Hey, Jude," at least once or twice, which she's probably sick of. Probably
never heard. She never heard that before. No.
She's probably cursed the day her parents named her that. Well, she could. I'm sure she could go by Judy if she wanted to, but she wants to be Jude, so good for her. So we'll talk about her books. I also love the band, which people are surprised at. Again, they think all I like is power pop. But I really love the rootsy music that the band did, especially their first few albums. And so I'd like to talk about that. We'll talk about her books and all that good stuff. So that'll be on August 31st.
Yep.
And then after that, we have irons in the fire, of course, always, and we'll find some good guests. And when we don't find guests, we'll play great music. So either way, you win, everybody.
Yeah. Great music, great trivia, all kinds of. We just talk and have a good time. But you know, you mentioned people might have been surprised. Thank you, Tim. It's Chris Stamey. We're looking forward to that again.
Thank you, Tim. You too.
People might be surprised that you like certain artists and whatnot. I didn't want to bring this up earlier, but I just got these in the mail today. There's the classic Mavericks album from 10 years ago, mono in stereo, just re-released on vinyl, on red vinyl, and all four main members signed the top of it up there. So
yeah, there is a band I really need to revisit, because the first few times, like with you in America, it just didn't hit me, but maybe it would now.
See, I consider, when I think of some of the greatest vocalists of all time in rock pop history, I mean, Roy Orbison for me is at the top of the list. I just think his voice is unmatched. But
it really is.
Think of voices, Raul Malo of the Mavericks to me is right up there with the greatest, and he just has an incredible voice. And then he released recently this Raul Malo album called Say Less, and he signed it up here in silver Sharpie right there. It's on like an almond color, cream colored vinyl. But the interesting thing about the fact that he's got such a great voice is that this album has no vocals on it. It's completely instrumental, and he played all the instruments on it.
Wow.
And, it's an absolutely beautiful album, but not one of the vocals on it. So those are a couple things that just came in the mail today. I thought
wonderful.
I'd show. But I'm a big Mavericks fan. Ever since I saw them live about a mile down the street many years ago, and they just tore me apart live. I couldn't believe they could be that good, and then immediately had to check on everything. But yeah. So we got a lot of stuff coming up. We've got a lot of IPO things to visit. We've got Chris Stamey, we've got Jude Warren, and that takes us to the end of August. We're into September then, and
We'll be into September. Oh, and I should point out, August 10th at IPO is Rumbar Records. I'd like to say night. It originally was scheduled for the night of August 9th, but that had to be changed. And now it's the afternoon of August 10th, but that afternoon will go past 5 o'clock. So we'll definitely, if things work out well on August 3rd, we'll definitely do it again on the 10th and get some of those classic rumbar power pop bands to see some of their sets and do some interviews and, just generally have a great time. So, again, everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you guys from Splitsville. And of course, thank you, Mark, for doing this with me. Of course, I'm doing it with you because it was your idea. So
214 episodes later, after we said, should we do something like this for a goof off for a couple episodes? Yeah, let's just try it.
One of the few, I always like to look at the bright side of things when I can. And while COVID was obviously a tragedy for a lot of people, and beyond a tragedy, a huge inconvenience for a lot of people as well. But there are always silver linings in everything. And one of the silver linings was we wanted, it was your idea to come up with something that could entertain people while they're still cooped up in their house.
Yeah.
And who knows, if not for COVID, maybe the idea never even comes to your mind. Maybe it never comes to fruition. So yeah, that's what we started, Material Issues at the tail end of it, basically, but a lot of people still weren't going out. So it was a really good thing.
214 episodes later, all of which are archived on materialissues.com. So
that's right.
If you missed any of the previous 213 episodes, catch it on the archives. You can watch it anytime. And it's also out on podcasts. You can listen to the audio versions. 180 episodes are up there now. I'm still working on getting the rest of them up there. So, we're all over the place. And tell your friends about it. Share it. Say this is a great show that you should watch, Material Issues. Because we love doing it. And
absolutely.
We'll do it again next week. So love to read
from IPOLA at Redwood Bar. Yes. Thank you. Love to Ches and Audie, who I'm sure you need to walk at some point.
Yeah. Audie's looking at me right now like, in a minute. We'll get there.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Have a great night, David, and enjoy. Best wishes for IPOLA starting on Friday at the Redwood Bar. And get your copy of the new what version IPO 3
Volume 26. Insane,
Volume 26.
Right? Where's it say 26 up here?
3 CD.
Oh, right in there. Yeah.
You pay your $15 entrance fee to get into the Redwood Bar, and you get the 3 CD 66 track set handed to you for free.
Absolutely.
I mean, how much better does that get?
There's nothing better. There really isn't.
Just do it. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Be well.